my friends. Welcome back to episode number 6. It is 6, right? I hope I got it correct. Hold on, let me go look, guys. Let's go make sure it's episode 6. We're on episode 6, right? Right. Okay, we're on episode 6. Hooray! Guys, episode 6 already, and it is the last, technically, the last episode of the podcast for October already happened, which was, what day was that, the 27th? Yeah, the 27th was the last. So technically, this is our first podcast episode of November. Wow, I didn't even realize October went so fast. It's kind of crazy. It really did. I think October might be the fastest month of the year so far for me. It was extraordinarily quick, but onward and upward. 2 more months in the year. Hopefully some good things to be accomplished. So looking forward to that. Man, before I get into any questions, I just realized how insane this week is. So I have 3 streams this week on my own because I'm streaming on Sunday because my family's coming over next week, so I'm not streaming my normal schedule. So I put in like a Sunday stream to, give the viewers some time with me. So I have my 3 streams. I have another collab on Halloween night, and I have another collab on Saturday morning. So technically 5 streams of mine, the podcast, and I've been, actually today's Wednesday. I might be going on the Game Worker stream for a little bit, on voice for that. And then I also was guested on his stream on Sunday. So like within the last few days, there's been a lot going on, dude. There's been a lot going on. And yeah, I'm started recording Omori now because next week I'm not going to be around. So I have to have YouTube videos to go up every day. So I started recording Omori episodes, and I'm trying to schedule future podcast guests. So that's going on, and it just feels like there's an limitless, and then the holidays are coming up, so I'm trying to schedule stuff like visits to family and stuff like that for the holidays and blah, blah, blah. Oh man, it feels that I had to take a few moments to just kind of breathe today because there's been a lot going on, but and I'm opening community facts later this week, and man, wow, there's a lot of stuff to do, but you know what? It's okay. We buckle down, as they say, and we get to work. We make things happen. And, I also have this funny thing called a full-time job, which is I have been up since like 6 a.m. this morning with like 5 meetings before 9 a.m. today. So, man, it has been a week. But, a lot of good things to come. So I hope everyone is looking forward to those. By the time you see this episode, most of those, pretty much all of those streams and collabs and stuff will be done. So hopefully, if you were able to watch, you enjoyed. And if you didn't enjoy, you stink. So there. But yeah, so we've got all that. I think I'll kick it off this episode with our song of the week. And it's funny because there was a song I was considering for song of the week. And then Gabe messaged me because Gabe is he's a little Spotify stalker, I call it. It's okay, I do the same thing. But he sees when I'm listening to something on Spotify, and he goes, "Yo, let me go listen." So he messaged me and said, "Hey, I really like this song. This is a really good song." And then I was like, "Wow, that's funny," because I was thinking about making it my song of the week. So that song is called "Moody Weirdo." That's Moody, Moody, space Weirdo, Weirdo, by Neck Deep, and it's just a fun kind of song. I mean, Neck Deep, I just saw them live 2 weeks ago, and they're like a pop punk band, and they're a great band, one of my all-time favorites. And this is a song, actually the last track on their newest album, and it's a good song. So go give it a listen if you so desire. If you don't, no problem. But yeah, give it a listen. It's a good song. Gabe liked it too. So yeah, it's my song of the week. Hooray. And without further ado, we only have 2 questions so far at this point in the week, but with everything going on, I did want to get a start on recording because you never really know, right? Like I never really, there could be no more questions for the rest of the week. So I shouldn't, if I bank and wait like the entire week and then try to record it all at the end of the week, and then we don't get any more questions, and then I have all this stuff going on. The optimal strategy for my time is to at least record a little something today with the questions that we have. So yeah, let's just jump right into them. So the first question we have is by Anonymous. I think both of these questions didn't have an author, or the name was not shared. So the first question is, and this is a good, interesting question. I like it. The question says, how would you deal with anxiety when you chat in a stream and a streamer does not acknowledge your message but does with others, or when you chat and get ignored? So let's address it from the streamer perspective first. The first part of that question: when you chat in a stream and the streamer does not acknowledge your message but does with others. So the number one thing I want to give the perspective of is so here's let me say this from the perspective of someone who is really, really, at least I consider myself really good at it, and others have complimented me on it before, so I think I'm pretty good at it. But basically, sometimes you just miss stuff, right? And sometimes I don't even realize I miss stuff, and I go back and watch the VOD. I've literally had that moment where I miss something in a VOD, and I'll go back and like message someone and say, "Hey, I realize I missed your comment here. Like, so sorry about that." Like they said something really nice, or they asked a question or something, and I've legitimately reached out to people and said like, "Hey, I feel bad. I missed this like really good comment you left, or really nice question." So, but that's only because I go through my VODs oftentimes for like editing or for like uploading on YouTube. So like, if other people don't do that, I could easily see how people would miss stuff. So I think that's number one, is that sometimes you just miss stuff. Number two, I would say don't, even if it happens a few times, like to you specifically. Well, first off, let's be honest. We're all harsh critics of ourselves. We all have anxiety to some extent. And naturally, we're going to assume the worst, right? Like, oh, God, they probably hate me. But just realize, like, you might think, like, oh, he's responding to everyone else except me. Probably that's not the case. Most likely, and yes, your brain is telling you that, but if we really sit back and think about it, most likely he's not responding to everyone except you. He's probably missing some other people. He might be responding to most people, but he's probably not responding to everyone except you. That's just a little bit, like I said, our brains just kind of do that. So it sucks, but like don't assume the worst. Like most likely you're not being the only one that he might be missing messages from. So don't assume that. Continue to message as you are, and I'm sure that it will get read. But yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing is just to like note is like, sometimes I don't even realize that I'm being overwhelmed, like with something going on in the game and like all this stuff, and so it will cause me to miss a lot of messages. And also keep in mind, you're only seeing what's on their screen, but you don't know. Like sometimes, like I'll be on stream playing a game, and maybe like the game not too much is going on, but then Jax walks into my office, or I get like a text. Like I think my grandma passed away during my stream, one of my streams last year, which sounds like bad that I kind of giggled there, but it's just like the awkward thing of like, you're on a show and you sometimes get like, I get texts that may or may not be serious that I have to keep on going through the stream. Like I'm not going to stop the show. So like, sometimes like you have to like, finish it. Like, I don't know how to word it, but like, you don't know what's going on. They might have something else going on that's making them miss messages. And it's not just it's not you, like legitimately, they might just have anything could be happening in their house that you don't even know. I bet you guys would not even know a lot of the time when I have real life distractions, if I don't say anything about it. So yeah, I guess just keep that in mind, that people miss things for reasons that you can't see on the screen. Sometimes I'll get a Telegram message from someone about a serious topic or something that'll pop on my phone, because I have the way I stream, I have my phone right in front of me so I can see if I get like an important text or like a message that I need to respond to right away, something like that. So like, yeah, basically don't assume. Keep my advice is keep trying to message. If they haven't, I mean, unless they explicitly tell you they have a problem, the chances are, I know we're all harsh on ourselves and we all assume that, oh God, something slightly off happened. They probably hate us. The huge, massive likelihood is no one hates you. And most likely they got distracted or they just happened to, it's luck of the draw. Sometimes you might miss a few messages and there could be luck of the draw that they happen to miss a few of your messages. Like that, it's not like that it's a guarantee that they don't like you because even if they miss a few of your messages. Now, I guess if it goes over like a prolonged amount of time, like a week straight of like you messaging like 200 messages a stream and they don't read any of them, well, in that case, they might hate you. But I encourage you just kind of take a step back if you need to, if you're feeling a little anxious. And really the important thing is, right, if a stream is making you anxious for any reason, step away from your computer, step away from your phone, whatever you're watching it on. Take a break from the stream. Like, don't feel bad. And I say this to everyone. If you're watching my stream and I happen to miss your message or like a few of your messages, like I guarantee I don't hate you for stuff. But like if it's making you feel anxious, feel free to lurk or step away from the stream for a while or even leave the stream if you whatever will make you feel better, because you have to care for your own mental health first. There's nothing that's like forcing you, like you have to be here if it's causing you mental health issues or like anxiety. Like take a break if you need to, like but realistically do take a step back and remember those things. Like the chances are they don't hate you. Streamers just have a lot going on. And like it's not even a guarantee that it's something like you could see. They could have things going on in the background. People live with their spouses, or they have a bunch of pets, or they live with their parents, or they're on call at work, and so their work phone might be texting, or like any million number of things. All of those things have been a distraction for me before, where I probably missed messages, probably missed several messages from maybe the same people. And I hope no one thought that I hated them. But yeah, it comes back again to the fact that we're all harsh on ourselves. We all assume the worst of ourselves. Like, yeah, they probably hate me because I'm so horrible. But most likely, no, they don't hate you. They missed the messages. They had a lot going on in the stream. And sometimes like I'll even admit, like sometimes my brain power, like if the stream is really hectic or maybe I have some other things going on in my life or something, sometimes my brain power just can't respond to all the comments. So I might choose a few. And again, just because you're not one of the chosen few doesn't mean that I hate you or that like you should feel anxious or bad that your comments are worthless. It just means that I have to be very selective, for example, in what comments I'm reading out loud. Keep in mind, most of the time I think I read most comments, at least in my head, even if I don't. But sometimes I see that sometimes people will be like, hey, Raichu, I said this in chat. And they're kind of like upset that I didn't read it out loud. And I'm like, oh, well, I did read it like in my head, but sometimes you just have to limit what you read out loud because your own mental bandwidth, like a lot is going on. The game, you're trying to read things in the game. You're trying to read all these comments. There's a lot going on. So don't assume that because your comment didn't get read out loud, that it didn't get read and it didn't get appreciated, for example. Like, there's no saying that they didn't read that. Like, if you were complimenting them or something, like, there's no saying that they didn't read that and think in their head, oh, that's really sweet. Just because they didn't have the mental bandwidth to respond or because they had too much going on, whatever the reason may be, don't assume the worst, that you're, horrible and that they hate you. And so I guess to really answer your question, how do you deal with it? Take a step away if you need to, and also take a step back and consider the situation. The odds are vastly, vastly against the fact that they hate you. The odds are much, much higher that streams are just crazy, man. Stuff happens, So the other one is when you chat and you get ignored. That's the second part of the question. So I assume that means basically you're messaging a friend or someone that you know or someone you want to get to know, and they don't respond to your message. So, it's kind of a room reading situation once again, which is really important. And I want to emphasize this to people. And I want to kind of express, I guess, the importance of reading the room, because, you shouldn't waste energy on people that aren't giving you that energy back. And I know, like, there's the temptation, like, I really want to be friends with this person, so I'm going to keep messaging them, even though they might not give me good responses, or they might not respond to me all often, or stuff like that. But let me just emphasize, like, you don't owe anyone your energy. And if they're not giving you good energy and the vibe's not there, try messaging someone else that maybe will give you the energy, because I understand that it can be frustrating and it can be upsetting, but guaranteed there are people who would respond to you and give you good responses, and you could have a nice chat with. So if someone's not giving you that, I understand the anxiety. Trust me, I feel it too. Trust me, I have felt that many a times in my life. But like, so if they're not giving you their energy, go to someone who will. If you need a different vibe from a conversation and that person's not giving it to you or is just straight up ignoring you, go try talking to someone else. And I guarantee you'll have some friend or someone that will give you the vibe that you're looking for. So don't beat a dead horse, as the saying goes. Like, if the friendship's not there, if the vibe isn't there, I mean, if you're messaging them all the time and they're not really responding to you, or they're giving you crappy responses that's like kind of implying they're not very interested, go put your energy into something good. It's kind of like if you put energy into, like, I don't know, doing anything and you're not happy with it or you're not feeling fulfilled, don't try to do something where you can feel fulfilled. Like, and that goes on to conversations as well. Go have a conversation with someone where you can feel fulfilled and feel like they're responding to you, and you're not having bad. If someone's causing you anxiety and making you feel bad, why would you continue to like do that? Like, if you, and I don't mean like once in a while, like no one's perfect, right? But like, if you're talking to someone like every day and they're causing you anxiety every day, that's probably not very healthy. So try to message someone else. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you're just not destined to be friends with someone. And I'm not trying to be too dramatic, because it's kind of a casual question. Like, what if you get ignored? But like, I'm just speaking from like a more, I guess, broad sense. I'm kind of assuming this person has had this happen a number of times. If that's not the case, if it's just a one-off thing, just understand. Okay, let's just go there. If it's like a one-off thing and it doesn't happen very often, people are busy. Like, people message me and I probably ignore their quote unquote miss their messages, whatever it may be, because I have a lot going on in my life. So first, analyze, does that person have a lot going on in their life? Because I try to be respectful and respond to people. But some days, like, I just explain my week, dude. I'm freaking dying. I have not done any leisure activities all week, and I don't think I'm going to be doing any this week. So don't think that I'm an evil person because I have like an hour of free time this week total, and I'm not spending it like giving you my undivided attention. Like, I apologize. Like, it's been a crazy week, but like, yeah, I guess just don't assume the worst. But like, if you're messaging someone every day and they're ignoring you every day, or they're giving you crappy response every day and they don't seem interested, don't cause yourself pain and keep doing that. Like, give them some space. If they want to reach out to you, then they can go chat with someone who wants to chat with you, if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, once in a while, I mean, just be understanding. But and keep in mind, I'm not vilifying the person that ignores you either. Like, if they're ignoring you, maybe they're just a really busy person in general and they just don't have time. And that's not a priority, is to like have like what do you call it? Like small talk or like casual chatting. Like, they just don't have the time for that. That's okay. And if you're someone who needs to have small talk, casual conversation with someone every day, maybe they're not the friend for you anyway that to have that with. So go find someone else who will. But don't try to force someone to talk to you. If they're busy, whatever it may be, you can try talking to them. But if they're making you feel bad, if you're feeling, and they're not making you feel bad, if you're feeling bad from them ignoring you or them missing your messages, whatever it may be, go talk to someone else. That you'll find someone that you can vibe with. So I don't know. It's a weird kind of question to answer, I guess, because I'm trying not to sound like just like throw your friendship away, but also like in an extended period, if you're not feeling good when you message someone because you're feeling this anxiety that they're ignoring you, if someone's causing you anxiety all the time, don't, like, that's not good. That's not a healthy friendship. So yeah, I mean, I would say find the person that you can vibe with, that you don't have to feel anxiety with talking to every day. But do be understanding that people have busy lives. And even if personally, different people have different amounts of busyness. So even if you personally couldn't fathom not having that time, try to put yourself in people's shoes. Fortunately, I guess I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Sometimes I'm like, wow, how does this person have this much free time? I have like a couple hours a week to myself if I'm lucky. So, yeah, just kind of put yourself in other shoes and and try to be understanding. That's what I try to do anyway. So, yeah, thank you very much for the question. I hope that was helpful. If not, as always, feel free to ask a follow-up next week. Thank you so much for the question. Alrighty. And question number 2. What is your favorite game you've ever streamed? Okay, this is a tough question. What jumps out at me? Celeste, if you made me choose just one, Celeste might be up there. I really love playing Celeste, and Celeste is like, it holds up as like one of my favorite. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's I don't know. Do I want to say easily? What year did Celeste come out? What year did Celeste come out? 2018. Wow. Okay. It is easily my favorite game to come out of the 2010s or later. Easily. I'm going to say that real boldly. Very easily. Certainly my favorite game since 2018, and probably my favorite game since the mid 2000s. And the games that I can think of that compete with it that are from that era would be like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and like Half-Life 2, stuff that came out in the mid 2000s that were real bangers. But we'll easily say it's my favorite game in the 2010s and beyond. What a game. So I would put that in the running, and we had all those really epic B-side and C-side streams, and like it was really a crazy time. I loved it. What a stream. But you know, we have been streaming for so long, and we have so many games. I think I might prefer to break it down by year. So let's break it down by year, and let's start in 2020 when most of my audience, or a lot of my audience, came about. So 2020, what would my stream game of the year 2020 be? I think realistically, the 2020 stream game would be Fall Guys, because I streamed Fall Guys a lot during that time period. And a lot of people, I think, got introduced to me like I was a good Fall Guys player. And I think I still am a good Fall Guys player, but like I was a really good Fall Guys player, and I did some collabs with other people playing Fall Guys. And it was a game I played a lot whenever I had like a gap in anything. I was streaming Fall Guys, and yeah, I guess it was a rare game where I was really good at it. And streaming a game that you're good at is very much easier than playing a game you're not good at. So for me, that was like a really easy kind of like bridge into just being a good streamer, because yeah, like I could very easily like play the game very well and commentate on the game and like talk about strats and stuff. Like when you have a lot to talk about, which I had a lot to talk about in the game, like my thoughts on the different new courses and all these different things, like it was a very easy game for me to talk about. And it was entertaining because people could easily watch me like wreck some fools, like it was a great show for people to like, everyone wants to see you winning, so like it was very easy for me to stream that. So I would say definitely 2020, my stream game of the year was Fall Guys. Now 2021, we have some interesting choices in 2021. 2021, I started the year playing Super Mario RPG, which is, Super Mario RPG is my favorite game of all time, or at least tied for my favorite game of all time with Chrono Trigger. Those are my top two, and they kind of go back and forth depending on my mood. So it's like at least tied for my top two. So that was a good way to start the year, but I don't know if it was my stream of the year. A lot of people that are now icons in the vaRAIety stream were not there then. After that, we played Ori, and Ori was another Ori in the Will of the Wisps, the second Ori. And yeah, so like that was a great game as well. That's when Lord Millinor, the legendary mod himself, joined us. And so I think that would be a pretty good choice. But I don't know if I would say it's the best. We also played Black Mesa, which I'll be honest, when I thought about 2021, Black Mesa jumped out at me as the possible game of the year 2021. It was such a good experience. I just remember having a lot of really good streams. We had some really funny clips that came out of it, which clips going, I don't want to say viral, like they definitely weren't viral in the sense that like a lot of people saw it, but like they were kind of well known among among the Twitch community. Like we had Explosions and Finesse, which is I think one of my all-time best clips. In fact, I think we're gonna play that in case anyone hasn't seen the legendary Raichu clip, Explosions and Finesse. We're gonna go and I'm gonna share that on the screen right now. We're gonna watch it together right now. So yeah, I think Black Mesa might be the clip of the year, but let me grab that clip. It's a real good one. I would put it in my top 5 or so clips of all time. So let's watch the clip. It's a real funny one. So here, we're gonna take a break, you guys. We get to watch a clip. Also, my old model's there. Look, you can see him behind me. There he is. So anyway, ready, go. Oh god, is that gonna blow up? Please don't blow up. Please don't. What is this poll? Oh my goodness. Who did this prediction? Who did this prediction? Okay, in my defense, I did pretty well. That whole area, I made it that far. Give me some credit, okay? Like a little credit, a drop of credit. Like a wee little bit. Will this blow up now? Will that hit that one? No, it won't! Hooray! I don't know why I didn't see those lasers right in front of my fucking face. Excuse the language, I'm very upset. So that's Explosions and Finesse. So yeah, it was a really iconic. We had a lot of fun during that stream. So I'm gonna say that's probably stream of the year 2021. However, we did some good ones in the summer. I mean, in the summer of 2021, we had the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, which was, I love Donkey Kong Country. They're among my favorite games of all time. And I really crushed those games, and there were some really good streams there. We also played Metal Gear Rising in 2021, which was a cool stream. We ended 2021 with Chrono Trigger, which is one of my favorite games of all time again. So we had a lot of good stuff. Like there's no doubting that we had a lot of really freaking good stuff. But I would say 2021, my favorite stream game of that year was Black Mesa. It was a really, really good experience. So now we jump into 2022. And I think it's an easy slam dunk. Also, 2022 is when I started doing the Raichu Stream Awards, which is, at the end of basically every year. For you new people, every year we do a vote on like the top mod, the top game we played, the top clip, the top quote, etc. So we'll be doing that again this year. Fun fact for all you new people. We'll start voting on that probably in early December, most likely. But yeah, so that was our first year. So in 2022, Celeste won Game of the Year by a vote of 20-5. The second highest had 5, and Celeste had 20. So I have the whole list of games we played in 2022, and so we'll just go down them real quick. Celeste was first. I think it's a slam dunk victory for that year, but we'll look at the rest. Super Mario 64, honestly, was a great stream. I had a lot of fun during Super Mario 64. It's one of my favorite games, once again. I thought we had some really funny moments during it. It's a very easy game to stream, a very easy game to watch, so I thought it was great. Bug Fables, I liked the game, Bug Fables, but I'm not sure it was a great stream game. I really liked the game, to be honest. But RPGs are always a little rough on me. Trying to commentate, there's a lot of reading. So, fun game. Was it the best stream? Not really, although we did get one of my favorite clips, which was like the reading. I didn't read the sign that said do this, and then I did the thing that I shouldn't have done if I would have read the sign, and then it was funny. It was a good clip. But yeah, so after that was Banjo-Kazooie, which Banjo-Kazooie is iconic because it's when I revealed the Raiju model, when I went from Raichu model to Raiju model. And so it was really iconic in that sense. The streams were scuffed as hell. If you guys weren't aware, we never finished Banjo-Kazooie because my save file got corrupted on the final boss. Because as I was beating the final boss, I also died, and thus it bugged out, and I couldn't go back into the final boss to fight it again, even though I technically didn't beat it because I died as it was ending. Like, I died as the boss was defeated. So, like, I beat it, but then I fell, and it counted it as a death. but it wouldn't let me go back in because I technically beat it, but I didn't really beat it because I didn't get to see the final cutscene. So it was very scuffed. So yeah, it was a rough stream. I liked the game still, but it was a rough stream. After that was Everhood. I liked the game Everhood a lot. I don't feel like it was a super memorable stream. It did get a few votes, actually. It got 5 votes, which was tied for second place. But I think that's because people like the game. I'm not sure I was a great Everhood streamer, which, no problem. You know, you're not good at everything. I'm not sure I was a great Everhood streamer, but I did like the game. After that was Yoshi's Island, which is our second time playing Yoshi's Island on stream. And I think I'm a good Yoshi's Island streamer. I think it's a really fun game. Was it a particularly noteworthy stream? No, but it's a nice comfort game, so it was fine. In second place, tied for second, was our next one up, which is Hylix and Hylix 2. I liked Hylix and Hylix 2 a lot. Really cool games. Did I think they were great stream games? Not so much particularly, but they were weird. So I have a soft spot for them, but do I think I was good at streaming them? Not really. No, but I do like the game. So it's kind of, and we did have an all-time iconic clip in it where I say, sometimes you have to face your fears, and then I touch the scary guy and the scary guy murders me immediately. So that was good, but I don't think it was a particularly noteworthy stream. After that was The End Is Nigh. Again, it's a platformer. I'm great at platformers, so I was good at the game. However, yeah, it was a good stream. It wasn't a particularly noteworthy stream either, but I did enjoy the game. And after that, we closed out the year with Super Mario RPG. Again, not really noteworthy. I love the game. It's my favorite game of all time, arguably. But not a particularly noteworthy stream series, so it was fine. But yeah, I think Celeste easily wins my favorite stream of the year in 2022. Now 2023, we've got the list again here. Let me go find the list. Here we go. All right, so this one was honestly another pretty big blowout, 17-9. Yeah, so first, that last year in 2023, we played A Hat in Time. I liked A Hat in Time. It was a fun game, and I think it's a pretty good Raichu stream game. It was right after I moved into this house, and our internet was kind of wonky. So I remember my internet was crashing a lot during that game, and it put a sour taste in my mouth. I really liked the game, and I'd like to play it again. But the game got a little borked because of my negative experiences with my internet crashing all the time. So I'm going to say it's not as good as it could have been. Cave Story Plus was fun. I love Cave Story. Wasn't great to stream, I don't think. We struggled at the end. I was kind of not doing great. So I think the stream was subpar. I do love the game, though. Mystical Ninja came next, the N64 game. That held up really, really well. Was it a noteworthy stream particularly? Not really, but the game held up way better than I remembered as a child. So the game was really good. The stream, probably the best out of the first 3 of the year, but not great. After that was Stray. Not particularly noteworthy, but I debuted the Raimu model. We played a kitty cat game. It was fun. Was it noteworthy? Not at all, but I liked it. After that was Curse of the Sea Rats, which I liked the game. Kind of. I mean, the game was honestly flawed, but you got to play as a rat, and he was attractive. So I liked that part. The actual game, not great. But in the actual stream, pretty mid. No one voted for it for Stream of the Year, in fact. But I liked it to some extent, but it's still one of the weaker ones of the year so far. After that, our first big hitter, Paper Mario, which got 9 votes, second place for the voting for Game of the Year. It was good. I mean, for an RPG, I'm not a great RPG streamer, but I think we had a fun time with it. I enjoyed it, so it was good. After that was Brock the Investigator, another game that most people hadn't heard of, but it was a pretty good stream. In fact, it got 6 votes and put it in a solid 3rd place for the year. But yeah, it was just okay. It was good. It was fun. It was a new game people hadn't seen, and it's the furry game, so that was cool. So it was pretty good. No complaints. After that, yeah, I think I agree with this. The next one up is Only Up / Madway. I had some really, really epic Only Up and Madway streams. I'm just really, really, I don't know. For those types of games, I think they're in my wheelhouse in terms of commentary and like in terms of just like playing them and commentating. It's my wheelhouse. So I would agree that that's the game of the year. It was really, really fun. After that, Super Mario World. Again, not particularly noteworthy. I love Super Mario World, one of my favorite games of all time. Was the stream noteworthy? No, we just wanted to do something comforting and easy. After that, Mega Man X. Again, I like the game Mega Man X. It's a very fun game. Was the stream noteworthy? No, not really in any way. After that was the coin game, which I think my coin game streams were kind of bangers low-key. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they were pretty dang good. Would I put it anywhere near the best streams of the year? Probably not. But I think they were good. It was easily in the upper half of the stream. With a lot of so-so games last year, I think it easily would be in the upper half at least. And lastly, we ended 2023 with Brave Fencer Musashi, which is, again, one of my favorite games of all time. And I thought it held up really, really well. So I would put that in my top. Probably for me, that's in my top 3. Even though no one else voted for that, I thought that was a fun stream. But yeah, I think I'd give it to Only Up in Madway. A lot of good games last year, though. So a lot of stuff kind of in contention. Okay, so I realized now I need to figure out how I'm going to see what I streamed this year. Did I start with Blasphemous this year? I think we started with Blasphemous, didn't we? Well, I think we actually, Brave Fencer Musashi pushed into the new year, I think. So maybe we did a few, but our first real full series game of the year was Blasphemous. I didn't like playing Blasphemous. I wasn't good at Blasphemous. It was just a frustrating stream, I think, because I kept dying to bosses. I don't think Blasphemous was a great stream. It was pretty weak for me as a stream game. Not great. Bomberman Hero was our second, and that game held up pretty well in terms of how I liked it compared to how I remembered it as a kid. I liked it more than Blasphemous as a stream experience, but still not all that great. After that was Knuckle Sandwich, which, again, I really liked the game, but do I think it's a top-tier Raichu stream game? No, not really. After that was Kirby 64, which would probably be the best of those 4 in terms of stream games, I think. I'm not even all that confident. And then I think that's all we've got. Kingdom Hearts will be in the running. Kingdom Hearts is probably going to win, isn't it? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is going to be the last one. Wow, we didn't get through a lot of games this year. Huh. How come? I guess because we started pushing one stream every week to be something short. I think that's why, because we started doing the whole one day every week will be a short series game and one game will be like a full length game. I think that's why. So yeah, I mean, I think Kingdom Hearts is probably going to win Stream Game of the Year very easily this year. We have enough dedicated Kingdom Hearts fans that they'll vote it, and the competition has not been very high. So I'm going to go ahead and confidently say Kingdom Hearts will win Game of the Year this year, and I'm gonna stick with that. That's my pick for Game of the Year 2024. We're gonna have to start having Kingdom Hearts streams in a couple weeks or less. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. But yeah, thanks for the nice question. That was very interesting to go back down memory lane and remember all those fun games that we have streamed in the past. So yeah, that's all we have for questions. I do have my notepad, but I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let people ask some more questions, and then we'll get into them in the second part of the podcast, which you guys will be seeing in like 1 second from now. So yeah, boom. My friends, welcome back to me being here live in my place. Well, again, I always say that, but for you guys, no time passed whatsoever. So anyway, hi, hello. We're going to get through some more questions. So let us jump right in. Question number 3 is by the Otterly, the legend himself. He says, are there any Halloween costumes you wore that you are particularly fond of? So there's like 2. There's 2 that stand out in my life, and I will tell you about them. The first one is it's actually kind of cool, and I don't think I have a picture anywhere, but it was Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog, the blue guy. My dad actually made it like from scratch, so I kind of had like a Sonic fursuit, not really, but sort of like a low quality Sonic fursuit kind of. My dad's pretty crafty, but yeah, so when I was a kid, I had like a not very fursuity, but kind of fursuit Sonic the Hedgehog costume, which I liked. I thought it was cool, and I still think it's pretty cool. I don't think I have pictures, though. I'm sorry. I don't think I can share them with you. Somewhere there might be some, but I don't have them. I certainly don't have them handy. I'm sure they exist in my parents' house or something, so maybe someday I can share with you, but right now I can't. I apologize, but I really like that. And the other one was one year I went as Ash from Pokemon, Ash Ketchum. And I enjoyed that a lot because, I like Pokemon, but it was very awkward because a lot of people asked you go to all the boomer houses and then they're like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, Ash Ketchum. And they're like, what the hell is an Ash Ketchum? So I don't know. It's kind of awkward interactions. I'm not a fan of those. So I like the costume. I feel like Sonic was a little more well known. I don't think I got the question as much, maybe. Or they just didn't care because it's just like, oh, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's like, they don't, at that point, like, okay, yeah, you look like a hedgehog kind of, so okay, we're just going to shut up. But like Ash Ketchum is like, oh, let me inquire further. Who's Ash Ketchum? And then you have to like talk to him, and then they're like, what's a Pokemon? So I don't know. I liked those two, and I guess they're memorable. They're both memorable. Those are like the two most memorable. I went as like Ghostface, from Scream a lot because that was a really easy costume. But I do like Scream a lot as well. So I had the costume, and then I used it many different years because it was just an easy costume, and I still like it. I would use it as an adult. It's a pretty good costume. So yeah, I like that one too. But I guess Ash and Sonic are the two biggest ones. Very interesting question, Otterly. I'm kind of impressed that I just thought of those. Like didn't see the question before. I actually just thought of those off the top of my head, and the Sonic one kind of lives in my head. I do think about that from time to time, but like the Ash one, I wasn't even thinking about. Like I haven't thought about that since I did it. So you brought an old Raichu memory to the surface. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, thank you very much for the question. All right, we've got a big one coming up, and I don't know what this question is. I just know Chili Mex warned me that there was going to be a doozy of a question. So whoa, this is a long one. Okay, that's what she said, or he said, whoever said, haha, get it, because it's a long one. Anyway. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? I'm going to do some reading. I love reading. Personal story time. Hoping to get some insight on it and potentially get a conversation topic out of it. All right. Tell me about it, Chili Mex. Over the last couple weeks, the manager colleague that I find awfully unbearable has been starting to behave very poorly with a member of the staff. Okay. So as a leader myself, I can understand when you have beef between two people. Yeah, it can be kind of a headache. I've definitely been there many times before. Okay. Disrespecting her by not even saying hi to her and only giving her orders instead of treating her like a member of the team. Yeah, it's pretty rude. This staff member has become a very dear friend of mine since she started working here. We've clicked super well and we've formed a wonderful group inside the workspace, but she's obviously suffering a lot from this situation and it's stressing her out immensely. And I think this other manager is trying to get a reaction out of her and get her to quit or fire her because he doesn't like her. Yep. So with me being a manager as well, I feel the need to bring this up with my boss and let her know of the situation because I hate the idea of someone, especially a dear friend, coming to work with the anxiety of having to deal with that one manager. But my boss thinks this other manager is an angel, and I'm afraid that by telling her all this, I might put myself in a risky situation and make it look like I'm working against them, even if what he's doing is absolutely terrible. He's doing it for no reason at all, and he's doing it to a very dear friend of mine who is suffering from it every day. Is it possible to do my duty both as a manager and as a friend by reporting this, but without compromising my position and the general balance of the workplace? Oh, this is a very interesting question. This is a super interesting question, and I think this is like a question with real life consequences. Like if I answer this wrong, if I tell Chili Mex, yeah, go tell your boss to F off, and then he does it and then he gets fired, oh God, it's on me. But no. So I think from my perspective, it depends on your relationship with your manager. Or your boss above you. So I was a manager. When I worked at KFC, I was a manager. And I had a really, really, really good relationship with my general manager to the extent that if another manager was misbehaving, which I don't remember a specific circumstance, but I think I may have had to have that conversation before. I think that I could have had the conversation, even if I thought that he was, thought positively of the other managers. If I needed to bring an issue to him, I feel confident that he would listen. So I think, Chili Mex, it depends on your relationship with your big boss, that lady. I think that's, That's the lady that we talk about all the time. Yep. So I think only you know your relationship with her, but I think that assuming you have a good relationship with her, it's worth bringing up. And I don't think she would like like be against you for talking about it. Don't say like any obviously like don't say in my opinion, and this is all my opinion. I'm not gonna preface every sentence by saying like in my opinion because it's all my opinion, right? So I would say don't push like a solution you want out of it, like, hey, I need this guy to stop doing that to this girl because I care about her and she's like a good employee and all this stuff. So don't push on your boss an action that you want taken, but you want to phrase it in a way. So here's a technique I learned. There's a very popular book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's basically a book about how to be have good interpersonal skills. And I was actually going to talk about that book in another episode in the future, but I'll preface it. So what you want to do, in my opinion, in this situation, is people like to think that ideas are their own. So what you kind of, and again, I'm getting like self-conscious. I'm wanting to say in my opinion, but again, it's all my opinion. So what I think you want to do is you want to bring it up to her in a way, and then you want to put the power in her hands. Like, hey, I just wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to see like what you like, if you wanted me to do anything, or if like there's something you think we should do, or if there's any action you want me, like, how can I maybe you kind of make an implication like that maybe you can talk to the employee, your friend, and even though she doesn't have issues, you could say like, oh, I could talk to her and like, help get her opinion if you want, or like put it in your boss's brain that it's her call, right? Don't come in like, hey, I'm making a decision here, like I'm in charge. Go in and just kind of like hold your hands up and say like, hey, this situation has been brought to my attention, like I've been seeing this happening, so I wanted to talk to you and see like what you think would be the right call. So put it in her boat and let her kind of like have the idea that she came up with the solution to this. Like, even if it was really you, like put it in her brain, because people like to feel like they're the ones making the decision, like, and have that power. Like she'll want to feel like she has the power because she does. So make her feel like she has the power and put it in her brain like, hey, I'm just here as your underling, and so I wanted to let you have this power to tell me what you would like me to do, if anything, about this situation, because I've seen this and I fear that, and come with reasons. Like, I fear like it could possibly cause these things, whether that be further what's the word, like further problems between coworkers, like it's leading to a negative work atmosphere for all kinds of coworkers, and you don't want that to happen. Or if it's leading to potentially like people are like having problems with customers because there's like a negative atmosphere, whatever it may be. Like, think of what you're seeing while you're out there, and think of what the issues are, and bring those to her and say like, hey, I'm worried about these things. Like, what are your thoughts, and how do you think we could maybe like rectify this? Because from my perspective, and then give her your perspective, here's what's happening. And like, don't blame anyone. Definitely don't go in accusatory, like, this manager's being a dick, I hate him. Go in and say, I think there might be some and I'm just going to give an example of what I might say. Hey, I think there might be some like miscommunications, because I've seen these, like, I'm just going to give them a random name. Jenna is the girl and the mean manager is Bob. Like, Bob is like telling Jenna that she's like doing these things wrong. But I have been like, I been doing my duty as a manager as well, and I haven't really noticed those same things. So I think there might be like some miscommunication. Maybe Jenna doesn't understand like what Bob's looking for. So maybe we need to figure out like how those two can communicate better, because I think there's some confusion, because I'm not seeing what Bob is saying that he's seeing, for example. And I'm kind of worried that if these instructions are going out to employees wrong, it might be other employees as well as just Jenna. And so I'm worried that maybe there's some communication issues going on. So like, do you think we should have maybe like we could have a manager team meeting and we could discuss like what kind of issues people might be having? Like maybe give her the idea like, hey, do you think it'd be a good idea if we had like like all hands manager meeting, like and we could all like discuss like maybe if there's issues in communication or something. So think of how you want to say it, but that's just an example. Like it's hard for me to give a good example. But like, without being there and seeing like, I don't know because I haven't seen what's happening, on the floor. I'm not out on the floor. I wish I was, but like, but yeah, so I would say come with some ideas and some possible things that maybe that she could at the end of the day, you want her to feel like she made the call, but put some thoughts in her head like of different things that you guys could maybe do to get this. And don't come in with bias like she's my friend and he's being a dick, but come in open-minded and in a sense that like you're on her side, but you don't want to give the impression that you're taking sides. So kind of just lay it out in a way. Hey, here's this issue I've been seeing. I don't think it's, and you probably want to phrase it like, I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think maybe there's some communication issues going on here. And, I'd like to get it rectified so that we don't have these further issues. So yeah, basically just go in, you have to play a little dumb, play a little possum. Like you're not accusing anyone of anything, but you just want to, you want to make sure that the movie theater runs well. And so you want to make sure that these issues are taken care of promptly and before anything further escalates. Because from your perspective as a manager as well, you're not seeing these issues that are perhaps that you're hearing these issues, but you're not seeing them, and you're monitoring this employee as well. To me, that just looks good on you. Like, hey, like I heard about this issue, so I'm watching this employee too, and I'm not seeing these things that are being like talked about, or say whatever you want. Like I'm not sure about like however you want to phrase it. Maybe and a different approach you could maybe take is like not saying her name, but say like you've gotten some. I don't, it's a tough one because it seems like he's just being a jerk, like to be a jerk, and so it's like. It's kind of it's a sticky situation, but I guess you could say like you could also take the approach of like that you like are hearing, maybe you're hearing some negative it's not a simple situation in this sense, but I think you just need to kind of bring up like you're not taking sides, like go in with an open mind, not taking sides, and that you want to see if you can, potentially resolve an issue before the issue becomes a bigger issue. Also, my model is doing weird stuff. Hello, model. Oh, that was weird. But yeah, like you want to resolve the issue before it becomes a bigger issue, and I think emphasize that, and that you're just trying to basically you're not taking any sides, but you're hearing about issues that you don't think are issues. Let me reread this again. Disrespecting her and only giving her orders instead of treating. Yeah. So if that's all, let me just read this again because it was kind of a long paragraph. So, so if there's not any, I guess, I guess, reading this again, it's not necessarily, I guess, that he's like claiming she's messing up. He's just being a dick to her for no reason. So I think in that sense, you can, maybe you can, I still think I would take the approach of you don't want to be accusatory. You want to be more like, hey, I noticed these issues and I noticed like the way blank was talking to blank had kind of a negative effect. And I'm not sure like if that's the most effective way to communicate. Like, what are your thoughts? Because I'm just kind of worried about the morale of our team and I don't want to see it like happening to more people. So like, do you think that this is something we need to address? And again, you're putting the power in her hands. And if she doesn't address it and shit hits the fan, well, then it's on her at that point. So you're kind of putting it in her hands. She's the big boss at the end of the day. So you're putting it in her hands. And if you trust her, and I think you do trust her, that's really all you can do. is put it in her hands, and again, phrase it as a kind of a question, like, "Hey, I'm just curious. Like, I saw this happening, and it seems like it maybe is leading to some like bad morale on the team. So, what are your thoughts? And is this something we should address? Maybe we could have like a managerial, again, like the meeting, like maybe we could all like brainstorm better ways to communicate, because it seems like it's having a bad morale on the team. So maybe we all, and put it on yourself as well, like, yeah, like I could use some refresher training as well, maybe on like just like best ways to communicate between us and the team. So like maybe we could all, maybe that would be a good option. And just kind of like put it like, when you talk to her in a genuine way where you're kind of like worried, and you're just like, I want to be better, and I want our team to be like our manager team to be better, so that like our employees are better, the customers get treated better, like everyone wins. So go in there like, I mean, I don't know, I guess you would be worried anyway, but go in there like acting worried, because you are worried, like it's an issue. And don't phrase it in a way where it's like, this guy sucks, blame him, but like, hey, is there a way maybe like we can all improve? Because like I don't want morale to go down and like all of our team to be hurt. So maybe like we could all have some training, or maybe we could all have a coaching session, like something. So frame it in a way that you're looking to better yourself as well, and not just like, hey, this guy sucks, like he's horrible, let's blame him. Frame it in a way where you're saying like, yeah, I could see this being an issue, so maybe we could all improve by doing this, and then suggest what you think, whether that be maybe a meeting or like some additional coaching or some additional training, like whatever it may be. Make that suggestion and go with it. That's only if you trust the big manager. If you don't trust the big manager, I say like that's your boss that I'm talking about. You're the big manager. If you don't trust her, then there's more issues. But I think you do trust her from what you said. So you kind of just have to go with it. And if no solution comes out of it, I think by doing it in that way that I suggested, there won't be any fallback on you. But you're doing what you can to put yourself on the line. And trust me, I hate bullies, and I love underdogs. So like, I would be in there talking, but you do have to do it in a way to protect yourself. So say it sternly. Hey, I am worried this could become an issue, and don't be accusatory, but like, hey, maybe there's some issues going on. So let's talk about it. And you trust her, so have that conversation in a gentle way without blaming anyone, because you don't want to, if she is a big fan of this guy, you don't want to put her on the defensive. You want to keep her at a resting, because once she puts up that like guard, then you're in trouble. When she puts up that guard and it's like an argument, you've already lost at that point. It's done. You lose. So don't get her in a defensive mode at all. Keep it very casual. Keep it calm. Express the issue without blaming anyone. And try to just keep it very soft, like, no, you're not yelling. You're just having a simple conversation. You're not accusing anyone of anything. You're just trying to look out for the betterment of the movie theater, because you are a manager and you care about how everything's run. And, you are responsible for your employees, their morale, because their morale can lead to issues with customers, etc. If they're not feeling good, they make mistakes. So you want to make sure everyone's morale is okay. And so you saw this issue with some communication, and maybe, you and the team need some more training. And when I say you and the team, I mean Chili Mex and the team need some additional training to make sure that everyone is communicating effectively and not causing issues or a lack of morale, or, depleting morale among the team, because that would be a horrible thing. So yeah, I hope I answered your question pretty well, Chili Mex. That was a very interesting one. And I hope that if you'd like, we can talk about it more, or follow up, or, I'd be very curious to hear how it goes if you talk to your manager. But yeah, we can talk more about it if you'd like. Just let me know. But yeah, thank you for the question. It was a delight, as always. Your questions are on point. All right. Next question from Game Orca. This is a good one, and I don't know the answer to this. But I'm going to read it, and then we'll start pondering. If you could star in your own version of Scooby-Doo featuring Jax as Scooby, who would be the other three members of your group? That's a hard question. That's like, hey, Raichu, choose people that you want to be in a spending a lot of time with. Which valid, interesting way to ask that. This is a hard one. I don't even know how to answer. So what do you need? So let's say am I Scooby? Or I'm sorry, am I Shaggy? No, Scooby. Jack's is Scooby. Okay, so Jack's is Scooby. Am I Shaggy? I don't know. I feel like I'm more of a Fred, but I don't know. So I don't know. So we've got no, I think I'm Fred. I'll make Toshabi Shaggy because he has the relationship with Jax, so that's the easy the shoe in. Like they're tight, so those two can be in their cahoots together. All right, now we need a Daphne and a Velma. Oh, this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard. Let's think about this. I don't even know. I mean, I guess if the point of the exercise is to have like skills like that you need in Scooby-Doo, like, you know, we're solving mysteries, like horror themed mysteries. We'll make Chili Mex Velma because he's very smart, he's knowledgeable about horror, and I feel like he's a good horror brain. So if we're in horror situations, I feel like he could be a good brain to tell me what to do because he's smart and, you know, stuff, and I'm not very smart. And then Daphne. What does Daphne even do? What does Daphne even do? I don't even know what Daphne does. Does she do anything? Is she funny or anything? I don't know. We'll make Kelmori Daphne because I just want some humor in the group, and I guess that's I don't know what Daphne does. Does Daphne do any? Is she even funny? I don't know. But in my group, I want comedy. So Kelmori, make me laugh while Chili Mex tells us smart things and Jackson Toshabi gremlin around. How's that for our group? Is that a pretty cool group? I mean, I don't know. I think that's a pretty cool group. We've got the brains, we've got the comedy, and we've got me doing nothing but looking real cool while doing it. So you know what? That's all you need in life is coolness. That's not all you need in life, so don't listen to me at all. Alrighty, next question number 6 from Game Orca. Out of all your friends, who has screamed the most / loudest when playing a horror game? Well, I'll give you some stories. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't. I was gonna say, like, I'll give you some stories. I did just say that, but I guess I don't really have a whole lot of stories. I think the most iconic scream in my life is the famous scream from Katsu in the what do you call it? Like the what do you call it? The sheriff clip. Sheriff! So I'm going to show that clip because, I mean, everyone's seen it. It's one of my most iconic clips of all time. So let me find that real quick. Let me grab that. And I'll play it for you guys. But I think everyone's seen that. I think this is the most iconic scream. I mean, the most would be Toshabi because I've played the most horror games with him in my life. But I think the most iconic singular horror moment I've ever had is the sheriff, which is this famous clip. So here we go. Katsu and Toshabi are probably the most prolific horror screamers in my life, though, I would say. But yeah, if you don't know this one, then it's pretty dang iconic. This takes us to the church.
The mine is between the bedroom and the sheriff.
What? Could you repeat that? Wait, how do you spell that?
Oh my.
Wait, what? Oh, here.
It's about the bedroom and the sheriff.
The bedroom and the what?
The bedroom and the sheriff office is between it.
Okay,
Wait,
I understand. Thank you. Yeah, pretty iconic. So I think that's probably the most iconic singular scream that I've experienced in my time of life. I think the most would be Toshabi because I played by far the most horror games with him. But that singular scream by Katsu, or I guess it's kind of like a couple I don't know, it's a few screams, it's a lot of screams. I think that is the most iconic singular moment. I mean, it did, spawn a very, very famous clip, so that's pretty cool. But like, yeah, I think so. In terms of most Toshabi loudest, I mean, Toshabi screams loud as well, so he could be made a case for that. But I can't think of a specific one like I can think of Sheriff, because Sheriff has been an iconic clip of mine for like 2.5 years. Yeah, right. Yeah, because it was filmed on my birthday in 2022. So yeah, that's over 2.5 years old now. So it's been a pretty iconic clip in the Raichu community for 2.5 years now. So yeah, I think that's the singular scream, the most Toshabi, absolutely legendary screamer. But that's also, I'm a little biased because I've played a lot of I've played many horror games with Toshabi, so I've heard it a lot. But yeah, thanks for the question, Game Orca. Sorry for a second there, I went to the Pokemon Center because I'm a silly guy. All right. And question number 7 from Game Orca. What is your least favorite American breakfast cereal? With a U, because they spell favorite with a U, because they're so dang crazy, all with their random ass U's placed everywhere. You're so wacky. What is my least favorite American breakfast cereal? That's a great question. What is my least favorite American breakfast cereal? I'm not a huge cereal eater in general. And even as a kid, I really wasn't. I've always liked like savory breakfast. Like I like bagels. Like bagels are probably my favorite thing in the world. So usually I would just have like a bagel or like some toast or something, like sourdough toast. Delicious. So I'm not a big cereal eater in general. I think probably, and again, it's very hard for me to choose a least favorite because I'm not a big cereal eater. But I think in general, I'll tell you the one that let me down the most is Cookie Crisp, and that is a cereal that that kind of broke my heart. So if you don't know Cookie Crisp, it's a cereal. It looks like this. It has a cool wolf guy on it. Hold on, let me pull it up for you. So it's this. It's right here. It's right there. This little wolf guy. So Cookie Crisp is like a cereal that's advertised as like it's advertised as like cookies. So when I had that as a kid, I thought it was literally going to be like freaking cookies. But what it really is like, it's like kind of like, I don't know, like the texture of like any cereal, like literally any cereal. It's like that texture kind of that looks like a cookie, but it doesn't actually have like real chocolate chips in it. It just is like a cereal textured shaped like cookies. So as a kid, that broke my heart because I was thinking like, I was like excited. I was like, yo, I'm about to have literal cookies in milk. And then it's going to be like the greatest freaking thing in history. But then it was just like pretty much the same old cereal that is any cereal. And maybe it tasted slightly like cookies, but even that, in my opinion, is a stretch. So like, it's not like disgusting by any means, but it's the one that stands out to me because it was very, 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 very extraordinarily disappointing. And sometimes the worst thing is just the one that disappoints you the most. And that one definitely, by far, disappointed me more than any other cereal has before. Other than that, nothing, I don't eat cereal very much, so nothing could really disappoint me that much. It's just like, yeah, that's fine. That cereal, it's just fine. I don't hate it, don't like it that much. It's just fine. It's good. But if we're talking about cereals I like, I'm a big fan of Frosted Flakes and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Those are my favorite cereals. But I don't eat them very often because I don't eat cereal all that often. But if I was going to eat cereal, those would be the cereals I would want. Oh, and Apple Cinnamon Cheerios. Those are very delicious as well. You didn't ask me about what I liked, but you know what, Game Orca? I can talk about things I like. Listen, I don't have to be negative all the time just because you're a negative guy and want me to be toxic and evil. You can't make me, okay? I said something positive. What are you going to do about it? But no, I hope that I answer your question good by saying that Cookie Crisp is my most disappointing. I don't know if other countries have Cookie Crisp, but yeah, that was the one. And as an adult, obviously, I understand that that there wasn't going to be a cereal that's just like little real chocolate chip cookies. That makes sense that you can't just eat that for breakfast. But as a child, oh dude, I just wanted some dang cookies. I just wanted a bowl of literal cookies with milk in it and perfect. But unfortunately, I didn't get that. So very, very sad, tragic. It will stick with me forever. I'm gonna cry for the rest of my life. I have had my heart ripped out of myself. So yeah, very sad, very sad. I'm gonna cry now. Don't don't ever ask me another sad question again. Don't ever ask me to answer another question ever again, or else I'm gonna be real sad. Just kidding. Please ask questions every week. Thank you. I enjoy your questions. So yeah. Okay. That is all the questions we have, but obviously we've got plenty more time in the podcast. I have some topics to talk about. I'm going to take a quick breather, but for you, there will be no time at all past, and we will be talking again in just a second. So see you in 1 second. So I don't know what like other people think about, when you're just when you're just like on a walk, or you're just sitting in your bed at night or whatever it may be, and you're just like you're gonna think about something, right? I don't know what other people think about. Maybe they think about like, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts lore, or their favorite television show, or they think about I don't know, who knows? But for me, right, I think a lot about human psychology and like interactions and like situations I've been in, situations I might be in, like people, my relationships with people, like all these kind of interpersonal, like psychological thoughts and different things. So today I was on a little drive. I was driving out. I was, driving around, and I started thinking, and this interesting situation jumped into my head. I was just thinking about the last few weeks, what I've been up to, what I've had a particularly busy week this week, and just kind of going through my interactions and, different things like that, and just kind of thinking about it. So here's the situation that came into my head, and I just thought it was, kind of interesting, and I think it might help some people kind of realize how our brains can kind of be silly sometimes, and potentially we might turn something that's not a negative situation into a negative situation, or the whole idea of, we talked about it before, but the whole idea of like our brains default to the worst. Like if something happens or like a situation occurs, then we assume like, oh, that person probably hates me, and welp, I'm washed, and they hate me, and I did something wrong, and now they're not my friend anymore, and woe is me. Right. So I thought about this situation, and it was just something I thought, like, I saw the situation and I thought in my own head, and I was like, yeah, I could see myself like feeling bad about this, or like thinking like maybe I did something wrong and the person doesn't like me. So here I'm going to give you the situation. So let's see, how many weeks ago now? Well, 2 days ago, 1 week. So I guess a couple weeks ago, I was on the Yasha stream. We were doing that Devour game many of you guys saw. So we're on the Yasha stream. We did it. Very cool. Awesome. Good times. So we had a good time for all intents and purposes. I thought it was an amazing night. I really enjoyed myself. And the night ended, whatever. So then the next Thursday, which was like last Thursday, I guess like a little over a week ago, Yasha asked me to be on his stream again. And unfortunately I couldn't, because Toshabi was in town, and we were going to be going out. So I had to tell him, no, I can't make it. Sorry. Like, unfortunately I won't be available, but I hope the stream goes well, like normal stuff. So then, I guess it's still yesterday. Yesterday, I was on the Game Orca stream on Thursday. And like, normally Yasha streams at that time. So what I was thinking, and I'm not saying, mind you, I'm not saying anyone involved actually felt these emotions, but I was just thinking about how like, like I could see myself feeling like that, even though it's not the case at all. I could see myself feeling, if I was Yasha in that case, I could see myself thinking, well, shit, he turned me down, and now he's on the stream with Game Orca, so probably something went wrong during the Devour stream, and he hates me now, and he's not going to want to stream with me anymore. He did this instead, so yeah, clearly he just doesn't like me, and so now, yeah, I'm thinking about like, oh, what went wrong during the Devour stream? Oh God, let me think about this, and why vaRAIety hates me now. And again, I don't think anyone's actually feeling like that, but I just wanted to kind of, I guess, highlight that as an example of how our brains, like it's very easy, like from my perspective, right? The person who lived it, there was a very simple reason. I said no to the Yasha that one night because I wasn't available. I had a very genuine reason. I wouldn't have said yes to anyone because I wasn't going to be home. And then the next week, I said yes to the person that asked me, you know? So there was no like favoritism or choosing favorites or anything. It was just like, oh, Gamework asked me on the stream this week. Sure. All right. No problem. I'll go on. But I could see myself thinking like, oh, he denied me and then he went on a stream with someone else. Like, he probably hates me, most likely. So I don't know. It's just kind of silly how our brains work. And I hope that's a good example that maybe you guys can look at if your brains ever do that to you and you think like, immediately think the worst, like, oh, he declined me here and then he did this thing instead. Like, he probably hates me. Or there could be a very reasonable, answer, just like in my situation. I wanted to stream with Yasha that previous week, but I legitimately couldn't because I had plans. And then this next week, like if Yasha would have asked me like right after, if Yasha would have asked me like a week ago, like, hey, do you want to be on my stream this week? I would have said absolutely, but then someone else asked me. So it's just interesting how, I'm sure many of you guys have been there where your brains kind of think the worst and in reality, none of like, if you're Yasha in this situation, you're never going to know the truth unless you talk to me about it. Right. But no one wants to have that conversation. So like you'll never know the truth, but in reality, there's a very reasonable explanation to it. So it's just kind of funny. So I don't know. I guess it's just kind of motivation for you to consider that there may be a very reasonable explanation before you assume the worst, like that person definitely hates me or like that I did something wrong or something like that. Consider the fact that there may be a very, very reasonable explanation. Just like in this case. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that today, and I love human psychology, and I love thinking about how others could think. So I don't know. I put myself in those shoes, and I was like, oh, that is a situation where I could see myself as feeling bad if I was in someone's shoes there without all the context. Because again, life is a game of incomplete information. So 99% of the time, you're not going to have all the information. And you're going to be left to fill in the blanks. And listen, some of us are meaner to ourselves than others. And so some of us are always going to fill in those blanks with like the worst possible thing. Like what is the reason why Raichu didn't want to stream with me today? A, because he had plans. B, because someone else asked him first. Or C, because he hates me. Oh, definitely C. 100% C. But I don't know. It's just something I thought about. I know many of you are hard on yourselves, myself included. We're all hard on ourselves. So I guess just something to kind of ponder, a silly little anecdote that, no, and again, just to be clear, no one expressed to me that there was any upsetness or that like anyone felt excluded or that I hated them. But it was just something I kind of thought about where, I don't know, just giving an example, a real life scenario where I'm sure you guys could imagine a world in which you were in a situation like that. Maybe you'd feel bad. So I don't know, just an interesting thing. Don't be hard on yourselves. Don't automatically assume the worst. Consider a very simple, alternative option, like what happened here. It just didn't line up, and I'm sure I'll be streaming with Yasha again very soon. I just thought about that because I was thinking about all the collabs I've been on. And by the way, well, the collab will be done by the time you see this. But yeah, it's not a common week where I have 3 collabs. It's 4 if you count the one last Sunday as well, which I guess you could. Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Wow, that is a lot of collabs. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's been a busy week, so my brain is doing some next level crazy stuff right now. But yeah. So I guess just consider alternate possibilities that don't involve the world hating you, because most likely no one hates you and people probably adore you because you're probably really cool. That's my take anyway. So yeah, just wanted to share that. The next topic I have to discuss is about being perfect or having things you do or situations you're in, having them be perfect and having that kind of perfectionist attitude for everything you do, and how that can be kind of unhealthy. Because from my perspective, right, let me tell you how I view perfect. Perfect is just good with luck. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So let's say I'm planning a trip, and I'll give you some real life examples because there are many situations in my life where I wanted something to go perfect, and it didn't go perfect because of issues beyond my control, things beyond my control. It was not perfect. So as an example, when I plan trips, I am very meticulous. I have a strategy of when I want to leave, what time I want to leave, how long it's going to take to get there based on when we leave, and what we're going to do when we get there. Like all these things. I'm a big time planner, and I am very organized when it comes to that kind of thing. I take it very seriously. So, for example, and this has happened before on trips, let's say I plan, we're going to leave at 7 a.m. because that is an optimal time when there is not traffic on this path we're going to be taking, and the percentage of accidents on the road when you go at this time is the lowest. So optimally, our strategy is to leave at 7 a.m. So we're going to leave at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So the plan starts. Everyone gets in the car at 7 a.m. Okay, my planning has worked so far. It's going perfectly so far. Excellent. That's amazing. And then we get on the highway, and there was an accident. Obviously, something I couldn't control. Someone else had an accident in the road, and now there's traffic, and now that slows us down, which makes it so that we have further slowdowns at the next, section of freeway because it was later in the day. So now there's traffic there because of that other previous accident. So now the whole plan went to crap. Let's just assume maybe I had an activity plan that day. We missed the activity because of all this. So all these things that were beyond my control happened. And the trip was still good, we'll say, but it wasn't perfect. And why wasn't it perfect? Because of things beyond my control. It goes with anything. Let's think about my stream this week where I played Hollow Body. And I went into Hollow Body planning for a nice, awesome stream. We're near the end. Going to be great. And then something beyond my control, the dev patched in a freaking new puzzle that I wasn't prepared for, that no one was prepared for in the internet, that required me to backtrack to an area that I couldn't control. So did I do anything wrong? Could I have planned better for the freaking dev to add a patch with a new puzzle 2 days before my finale? Absolutely not. How would I have planned for that? There's no way I could have anticipated something like that. So the stream wasn't perfect. It was still good, but it wasn't perfect because of that little factor of luck beyond my control. Tuesday, my stream, Night at the Gates of Hell for Chili Max's birthday. Issues. My stream crashed multiple times. Did I do something wrong? Did I anticipate my PC going kaboom? No, it just did it. So I had the plan for the perfect stream. It wasn't perfect because of issues beyond my control. So I think that's something that people need to consider. I see people being hard on themselves, like, I want this to be perfect. And when it doesn't go perfect, they feel like they've failed. They feel like anything less than perfect is a fail. When in reality, in life, you're dealt hands that you can't anticipate or you can't deal with that are luck-based. A lot of life and success is luck. And when something goes wrong, it's about how you respond to that. You make the best of what you're dealt. Sometimes you're dealt bad hands. We were dealt a bad hand on Thursday when they frickin' dev put in a puzzle. But what did we do? We still tried to remain positive. We still tried to keep having fun with everyone, telling jokes, like hanging out, enjoying each other's company in the stream. It wasn't perfect, but we made the most of it. Now, if I would have immediately said, F this, I'm shutting down the game, everything sucks, and closed the stream, well, that wouldn't be making the most of some bad luck in an imperfect situation, now would it? No, it wouldn't. So make the most of the situation. When you're dealt a bad hand, it's okay. If you weren't prepared for that bad luck, we'll call it luck because most of the time it is luck. And if you weren't prepared for that bad luck and the situation doesn't go optimally, that's okay. Because a lot of when things go perfectly, yes, like sometimes I have things go perfect. Sometimes I'll plan a trip and the trip will be perfect. Sometimes I'll have a stream and I'll plan this and it will go perfect. That does happen. And but the thing is, you can only do so much. So I have to credit luck to some extent, right? Because again, my trip went perfect. I got there in record time. But all it would have taken is one other idiot who didn't get enough sleep the night before, then was driving crazy on the road and got in an accident, and my whole plan would have been kaput. and it would have been completely beyond my control. So again, just realize that luck plays a factor, and you don't have to be perfect all the time. When you are perfect, when something goes perfectly, when a situation goes perfectly, whether it be a stream you planned or it be a hangout with your friends, it be a trip, it could be a YouTube video. You know, I worked really hard on this YouTube video and I did everything right. I made a nice thumbnail. I have a good title. I shared it with people to get the word out, but it didn't perform great. It didn't perform as well as I would have liked. That, you know, sometimes it happens, and being perfect, everything going perfectly to plan, it's like in life. Like, life will not go. Let me just warn you guys, in case anyone here has had what they would deem as a perfect life up to this point, let me warn you, just in case, life sometimes throws you curveballs. And so you need to be aware that life won't be perfect. There will be bad times, there will be sad times, and there will be times where you feel like everything is falling apart. But it's how you react to those times, because again, sometimes you just have bad luck. One little thing goes wrong. One little thing. Like, think of it like, what if you get like laid off from your job, right? Because let's just say some executive makes one boneheaded decision and your company's finances go down the crapper, and now they have to lay people off. You know, and so there it is. You know what I mean? So it's like for example, I've told this story before, but a lot of people don't know this story. But some of my closer friends do. But when in 2019, I was almost laid off. My company got acquired by a big company, and the department I worked in, which was our heart and soul of the company I worked for, the new company said, we don't really want that department, so we're just going to lay off this department of like 50 people. No problem. So they're laying off this department of 50 people. That's horrible luck, right? I could have said, well, I'm screwed. My life has just fallen down the crapper. This job I've been at for years, I'm now done. And I could have just resigned myself to, well, it wasn't perfect, so I failed, and everything sucks, and that's the end. I could have said that. But you know what I did instead? I started petitioning. I started talking to coworkers, and I started talking to other managers, and I started to see where would be a good fit for me, where someone could fit me in. And I showed interest, and people liked me, and so I used that level of likability I had, as well as the level of skill I had at my job, to find a way in. And guess what? Out of the 50 people that got laid off, 2 people survived. Myself and one other colleague who is also a hustler and a go-getter. So we were both dealt horrible hands. Horrible. Is that how I expected my 2019 to go? I expected it to go perfect. It did not go perfect. It went horrible. Everything I had planned was going down the tubes. But you know what? We made the most of the situation. And sure, would it have been easier, I guess, to be in the same job and just keep doing what we were doing? Sure, we were both inconvenienced, and it ruined the quote-unquote perfect work year because we both had to do something different now. But we made the most of the situation, and we had a perfect situation. It went down to a crappy situation, but you know what? We were able to recover it into a good situation. And that's kind of what it's about, is don't assume because it wasn't perfect that it was bad. Because when you assume it's bad, then that's when it really is bad. Think of how you can get the most out of this imperfect situation. And you know what? Even if it's just learning, even if it's like, hey, my YouTube video I posted, I put a lot of work into that, and I expected it to get 1,000 views and it got 100 views. Well, take something out of it in terms of like what you can do better for next time, or what maybe you need to do differently to get those better numbers. And, you know, whatever it may be, you can still appreciate the fact that it got 100 views and 100 people liked it. That's really cool. So take the goods and, you know, if you need to improve them, like for me, right? For me now, next time, if there's layoffs, I'm going to be in an even better position of knowing how to deal with it and how to, you know, because it took a few months of stress for me to actually get in with the new department. We had a few months before we were going to be laid off. I think we were told in like January or February, and I think it was going to be like, I don't even remember what month, September, October, something like that. So we had a while to stew on it. But like, if I was in that situation now with the knowledge I have from last time, ideally I'd be able to get in somewhere faster, and I wouldn't have to have so many months of horrible stress and anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, so get something out of it, learn something, but also don't just assume because things didn't go perfectly, they didn't go as good as they could have, because sometimes you expect 100%. Like, I want it to be perfect, 100%. And destiny is like, nah, you're getting a 50%. That's a failing grade. But so if you can get it up to an 80% where you made the most of the situation, hey, that's a B, 80%. It's not the 100% you were looking for, but you were in a position where you were going to get 50%. So you salvaged it. It's all about salvaging. Sometimes a situation goes poorly. Like, I'll give you another example. I use poker examples a lot, but poker is another good example. And it's interesting how poker has so many parallels with life. In poker, sometimes you have a bad situation where you're just unlucky with a hand, but sometimes in those situations, it's about minimizing what you lose. And some hands you're just destined to lose. And in poker, and if you're not a poker player, you probably don't understand this. It's like, well, I simply would not lose. But in poker, sometimes you have such a good hand that you're just destined to lose. And there's no way you're getting out of losing. But sometimes it's about minimizing those losses. So yes, I'm going to lose, but I lost not as much as I should have. And that's a win. Sometimes you lose, like, I'm just going to say like a number. It's just a random number. Sometimes on a hand, like, the normal outcome most people would have is losing $500, and I only lost $100 on this hand. It feels bad. I lost $100, but most people would lose 500. And so I made the most out of this crappy situation. I turned it from perfect, where perfect would be like I lose nothing or I win, to bad, where I would lose 500, to good. Like, I made the most out of the situation. Like, yeah, saying I lost 100 doesn't seem good, right? But compared to the alternative, it's like, what if I had that situation from earlier where I was on the route and like traffic all of a sudden. So then I have to pivot and take an alternate route. And now it takes 6 hours instead of 4. Well, that sucks. That seems like a loss, right? No, but if I would have just stayed on that same route with the traffic, it would have taken 8 hours. So sure, 6 is more than 4, but it's less than 8. We made the most of the situation. So yeah, it's about making the most of those situations. Sometimes things don't work out. And sometimes for reasons beyond your control, things don't go perfectly. And you just have to be willing to understand that. That's the first thing. You need to understand sometimes things don't go perfectly, even though I want them to. But then you have to react to them. When things start going south, you have to react and you have to make the most of it. And as long as you made the most of the situation that you could, that's a huge win. That's as perfect as you could have done, in my opinion, without that luck. And again, sometimes the bad luck won't hit you, and sometimes the thing it will go perfectly. And I think that just kind of should inspire people to really appreciate when something goes perfectly, because it's a nice feeling. When something goes with no issues whatsoever and everything just goes perfectly, that's an amazing feeling. So appreciate those times, but don't be so hard on yourselves when things don't go perfectly, because oftentimes you did everything you could have, and luck determined that you weren't going to succeed or you weren't going to be perfect in that situation. Unfortunately, in life, there's a lot of luck, which sucks, because if it was just about who did the best all the time, well, shit, my life would probably be even better. So you just have to understand, sometimes luck is not on your side, and that's okay. We make the most of it. We make the most of the bad situation. So try that. Try that. When something doesn't go your way, don't just give up and say, well, it wasn't perfect, so I'm scrapping everything. Do what you can, get what you can out there, and just do your best. That's all you can do. So I hope that rings true to some people, because I know a lot of people are really, really harsh on themselves in that regard. So try not to be. Try not to be. It's really it can be hard, but I believe in you. So yeah, I wanted to talk about a little bit more, since Kel and I had a discussion in the Discord in my channel. It's called, what is it called? Rycast discussion or podcast discussion, whatever it's called. But we were having a discussion, a follow-up kind of his topic last week, which was about diluting yourself, when you're meeting people maybe that don't know you well, and diluting yourself, and should you dilute yourself, and to what extent should you dilute yourself. And I guess I kind of in the discussion last week, I kind of talked more so about like, hey, Kel, you know us, like, you don't have any reason to dilute yourself when you're around us. But Kel said he was a little more talking about he was talking more about basically, situations where he doesn't know them, or even when, maybe when friend groups have, like when we have maybe some new people that he's not familiar with, he still dilutes himself some. So let's talk about that. So for me, I would say I don't necessarily dilute myself much when there's a couple, one or two new people, maybe hanging out with people that I already know, which I think I do a pretty good job of showing that because we have new people showing up to game nights and stuff, and I don't really dilute myself there. So I think in terms of diluting yourself, if you know the majority of the people, I think I personally say dilution not particularly needed. Give it a shot. And I think if I'm a new person coming into a group, I would want to see that person being their authentic self. Like, clearly they're pretty great. They're around these other people that I know. Like, let's just say, like, random person joins and they know me and they know Chili Mex, but they don't know Kelmori. And so they see Kelmori being himself and they go, well, he must be pretty awesome if, like, Raichu and Chili Mex like him. So, the thought is, like, yeah, like, be yourself, because they should be able to see yourself, and they'll have some amount of bias, like, in your favor, because they know that Chili Mex and Raichu like you, and so they're gonna like you too, and so they deserve to see your full personality. So I think I would say, in terms of dilution, when you don't know one or two people in a group where you know most of them, I would say, in my opinion anyway, I wouldn't try to dilute too much, if at all. Personally, that's how I do it. So yeah, I would say err on the side of not diluting. I think it'll go fine. As long as you have those comfort people there that know you and like you, and I'm a good hype man. You need me to hype you up, Kelmori. If with new people, new person joins, I will tell them, yo, this guy, the funniest person that ever lived. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I think don't dilute yourself too much. If you know the majority of the people, you're pretty safe to not dilute yourself, in my humble opinion. But as far as, like, I guess with outside groups, I mean, I guess I did kind of talk about it, which maybe you already got that point. You were just clarifying that the majority of your question was related to people. But yeah, I think dilution is important to some extent, as you kind of, you don't want to be, I guess it just depends, but it's good to play it slow. You don't want to spill your whole life story, or, necessarily go too ham on the first time you meet a new group of people. So I think it's safe to dilute yourself. I understand that people maybe think that you shouldn't dilute yourself, and I'm not saying be someone fake, but be a little bit watered down. I don't think there's any issue with that. And I think, in general, it's a good way to kind of ease people into, hey, this is what Kelmori is like, or hey, this is what the Raichu's like. Because I think you eased us in, Kelmori. I think you diluted yourself when you first met us, and you eased us in, and it worked out great. I mean, 4 years later, you're still here going strong, an icon in the community. Like, I would say it went perfectly for you. That's a great example of you diluted yourself at the beginning, and you grew into to showing your full self, and we all loved it. So, can I confidently say, if you would have been your full self at the beginning, that we wouldn't be in the same situation right now? Well, we might be. I think it's just a more conservative, safe approach to take, to maybe dilute yourself a little bit. And yeah, I mean, again, you want them to see what you're like and what you're about, but you don't want to be too much in those early stages. So I totally understand that. So I think, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with a little dilution, and it's a good way to ease yourself into groups. And even I do it. With people that I don't particularly know. Although, again, if it's a group where I know most of the people, like more than 50% of the people, I'm probably not diluting, because I know I have those people's vouching for me. Like, if I join a stream, if I don't know, like, if Chili Mex and Kelmori had a secret, Chili Mex and Kelmori and Yasha had a secret friend that I didn't know that they were all friends with, I would go in that call with the 5 of them, like the 3 of them plus me plus unknown friend. I would go in there being 100% me, guaranteed, because there's 3 people I know for a fact that this other 5th random person trust their judgment. And so I'd feel confident going in and just being myself because again, you have that bias. Like that person's going to be thinking positively, presumably because Yasha, Chili Mex, and Kel said nice things about me or hyped me up. So why shouldn't I go in there and be my true self? Like if I was hyping you up, Kelmore, if you, me, and a third friend were going, like a mysterious third friend that you didn't know, you should feel confident that if we're going into that call, I am hyping the hell out of you, and that person is going to already know what you're about, and they're going to have an idea of what you're like already, and so you better just be your best self and let it shine, baby. So, I don't know. That's how I'd handle it anyway. I understand everyone has self-doubt, so you're probably thinking like, oh, what if they're not saying nice things about me or hyping me up and they don't even like me that much? But, I don't know. It's all complicated, but I think dilution is not a bad strategy at all. If you know the majority of the people, I don't think dilution is particularly needed, but in a new group, yeah, get some dilution on. Nothing wrong with that at all. In my very, very humble opinion, because I'm such a humble guy. So yeah, that's it, Kel. I think there was if we go back to the chat or the podcast discussion. Yeah, I guess we were talking about like how a mix of familiar and unfamiliar people. The unfamiliar people become familiar. Yeah, so it's like just I mean that's just naturally how things go. Is like people come into the hangouts, for example, and then they start coming in more and more and more, and then they become familiar. So I think, it's all just be yourself at the end of the day. If it's 5 people, then you don't know any of them, and you're the lone wolf, and you have one friend there or something. Yeah, maybe you need to dilute yourself a little bit. Or if it's a completely new group where you don't know any of them well, then dilution probably not a bad idea just to play it safe. But if you know the most of the people, be yourself. And those people that are unfamiliar now will probably soon become your friends, because most likely your friend group that you're joining up with one or two people that you don't know, more than likely those people have already been talking you up. And again, let me just say it here. If anyone, let me tell you, if anyone here that's listening to this in the podcast, if anyone here ever like we're going to do something and I invite you to something or you join an event, whatever it may be, like especially if I invite you or ask you to come to something, 100% I guarantee I have hyped the hell out of you to the other people that are going to be there. So you have no fear of coming in like, oh, they're not going to know what I'm like, and it's going to be like I have to like not be myself because they're not going to like me. No, I guarantee I've already told them what you're like, and I've told them how freaking awesome and cool that is and how amazing you are, and I've already put the bias in their head to like you because I like you. So if you ever happen to be in a situation like that with me, rest assured I got your back. I got your back because I understand you need a hype man. In life, you often need a hype man. I mean, that's just kind of how, we call it a hype man in that sense, but like, it's the same way in anything in life. You go to a job, having a referral helps a lot. Having someone who can say, yo, he's super awesome. That helps. You apply for a home or like an apartment or something. You need to get it. Well, you need a referral, someone that's going to say, yeah, he's awesome. He pays his rent on time all the time. Whatever you do in life, you need a referral or a hype man. So this is no different. You need that hype man. So I think I would just kind of encourage others, like, try to make sure your friend that is maybe joining, especially if you have like a new friend, like let's say you make a new friend and you're going to invite them to hang out with your friend group, for example. I think it's super important to kind of hype them up. And I think if you do that, you can, and it's a good skill to have. And I think I'm good at it. I could even use the example, like when I've mentioned this a couple times in the past, but like when I've hung out with friends before and they I've certainly joined friend groups where I only know one person and it's like a bunch of people I don't know. And I've been fortunate that those people have been good at hyping me up. So yeah, I think it's just something to keep in mind that if you're bringing in someone new, set the foundation. I mean, I'm sure most people do this already, but set the foundation for to be a successful addition to your group by telling your group like, yo, this person's freaking awesome. here's the things that make them awesome. They're really cool. Let me tell you all these great things about them. And I guess it comes down to being vulnerable again. You know what I mean? It's coming down to being vulnerable and just saying what you like about someone. Yo, this person's super sweet and kind and really awesome and just a joy to be around. They're full of energy. They're like they're just someone that's really enjoyable to be around. So I'm sure you guys will love having him at our hangout on Saturday, whatever it may be. Like, I'm sure you guys will love like meeting him because he's super freaking cool. And so now in all their heads, they already have that bias, like the thought, like, okay, wow, this new person is going to be really awesome. And then when they meet you, the hard work's already been done, because when you meet someone in general, right? Like, say you meet someone off the street, or like someone randomly joins your stream, or you get a new follower on Twitter and you want to learn about them, you don't actually know if they're cool or not, right? They don't have a referral. There's no way to know if they're cool. They could be the best person in the world, literally. They could be the best person in the world, or they could be the worst person in the world. You have no idea. So when you have a referral, when you can refer in the sense of like, hey, this is my friend, he's really awesome. It's such a touching thing. And I know for me, whenever I have that kind of thing where like someone puts it in their head, they're like, hey, this is Raichu, he's really freaking awesome, and he's my good friend, he's really cool. Like, it's always touching to me, because like, yeah, you're helping put a positive impression of me in this other person's head, which is so valuable, because again, you only make a first impression once. So if you can go in with a little positive thing, again, it's the same thing. Like, if I walk into an interview and like I'm going in, like I've applied for jobs, like internal jobs and whatnot, even at my company, where the person doesn't know me. Like, I'm interviewing with a person that doesn't know me, right? But I already had someone else at the company, for example, say, yo, Raichu's really awesome, by the way. You're going to interview him for this job. He'd be super qualified. He's really awesome. Going in with that, now their first impression of me is like, he's awesome. That's their first impression. And it's up to me to just not, I don't have to be like super awesome. I just have to not be horrible, like, because their impression in their head is already awesome. So I just have to not totally butcher that. So it's the same thing if you're meeting new friends, you're meeting a new group of friends you've never interacted with before. They're going in thinking you're awesome because your friend that's in that group told them you're awesome. So they're assuming you're awesome. As long as you're just okay, even if you're a little bit nervous, maybe you're a little bit shy, you don't have to be, you don't really, let me tell you, you don't have to be so awesome, because you already have a first impression, because they're thinking you're awesome because of their friend, your friend telling them. Now, if you just went in and they didn't know what to think, maybe they think, oh, this guy's kind of reserved, he's kind of quiet, like maybe he's just kind of like not a very nice person. That's going to be their first impression. But instead, because you had that friend kind of play wingman, it's not really wingman, but you know what I mean? It's kind of wingman-y. It's like their thoughts are, wow, this person's really freaking cool. And you're much more likely to have success being yourself in that regard, because they already have that impression that you're good. So help your friends in that regard. I think it's really important. And I think most people probably do this. Like I said, I think it's pretty common when you're introducing a new friend potentially to your friend group. It's pretty common. You know, I mean, you're not just going to like add someone to your private Discord server, or your private Telegram, or your private VR chat world, whatever, without saying anything. You're going to give them some kind of introduction, but make it a real positive introduction, like really hype them up. And again, it can be kind of vulnerable feeling and a little bit nerve-wracking to like tell your friends like, yo, this person's really freaking cool. Like, meet them. They're amazing. I love them so much. They're great. It can be a little, you're kind of making yourself vulnerable, but it's important. Speaking of vulnerable, I was thinking about today, like just how hard being vulnerable can be, like telling, like, and this is just kind of a tangent, but like telling someone that they matter to you is such a vulnerable feeling. And I was thinking about this a lot this week. And just like when you tell someone that like it really is hard, because you're kind of putting the power in their hands, right? By telling someone else that they're super important and a really important part of your life, you're telling them basically that they have the power to negatively affect your life if they wanted. Like, if I say, hey, you're the most important person in my life, like if I told someone that, right, then they would have that power, knowing that like if they wanted to, they could screw me over just by not talking to me or being mean to me or whatever it may be. Like they know they have so much power in my life. And I guess that's where the challenge of being vulnerable comes in at, right? Is you're giving someone else the power. You're saying like you're important to me, and so you could totally. It really is like opening yourself up. Like, you have the ability to make my life worse because you make my life so good. You also have the ability to make my life worse, and that's the thing, right? Like, if someone doesn't bring much good to your life, or like you don't really for lack of a better way to say it, you don't really care about them that much. Like, they can't negatively affect your life either, and I think that's where people feel like, they don't want to be vulnerable, and it's because it's easier because if you're not vulnerable, people can't hurt you. But, I guess it's just, I guess it's me realizing that being vulnerable is incredibly hard, but it's also so rewarding because there's no more rewarding feeling than being vulnerable and saying, hey, you are really, really important in my life, and opening your heart when they don't stab you in the heart then, and they just appreciate it, and they tell you like they open their heart for you too. It's just a really good feeling, and I think it's one of those things that kind of makes life worth living, is those moments. And yeah, you will get hurt more from that being vulnerable, but if you're not vulnerable, you're just going to live a life where you're kind of just like, you don't have those deep relationships like that. So I think that's the importance of being vulnerable, is like, it's a higher risk. It is a higher risk thing, but it really lets you achieve peak things in life as well. Sometimes it'll lead to bad things, and you'll go, why the hell was I ever vulnerable? Like, that was stupid as hell. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done. Like, I got hurt. But by being it, you're giving yourself the chance to really form those bonds, form those deep, highest level connections, and with people that you can't form if you're not vulnerable. So I guess that's just the importance of being vulnerable, but also me acknowledging the fact that how hard it is, because I was just thinking about that, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm someone who likes to be in control, and I don't like feeling like anyone else has power over me. I'm someone that likes to feel powerful, for lack of a better way to say it. Like, I like to control my own destiny. So saying, like, it can be really hard. It can be really hard to say, yo, if you wanted to, you could absolutely ruin my day, week, month, year by just by being mean to me, or not talking to me, or what, or not wanting to hang out with me anymore. Like, you have that power to really hurt me. And like, putting that power in someone's hands, even if you don't think they'll use it, even if you trust that person with your life, like, putting it in their hands to say you could hurt me, that's freaking scary, dude. It really is. But when you put it in their hands and then they don't hurt you with it, that's how you form that really deep bond. You could have hurt me, you could have stabbed me in the back, and you didn't do it. So thank you. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a deep thing, but I guess just be vulnerable. And I know it's hard, and I know it's really, really scary. But when you really have that trust in someone, or that bond, or you kind of want to take your bond to the next level, be vulnerable with them. It's because it's a good thing. It really is, and it is scary. And again, I feel like sometimes in my podcast I talk about things, and I think it's like I give off the impression like, oh, this thing's so easy, it's not scary at all. No, being vulnerable is so scary, and saying nice things to people in general is scary, because like, you're opening your heart up. You really are. But I think it's really, really important in general, not just for your own personal benefit, but to spread kind of like, just to spread positivity. The world's a negative place. So if you can spread some positivity and just kind of make some kindness go, and keep in mind when you do nice things, and this is something that I've had the real like benefit of seeing around me. I see people talk like I would talk to others, and like raise people up. And I bet it's people who maybe before they met me and saw how I operated, I bet potentially they wouldn't have been comfortable being like that, like openly, like, hey, don't be hard on yourself, you're freaking awesome, like stuff like that. I think it's people who maybe wouldn't have done that had they not seen me do it. So I think you having that chain effect, like if you go and you spread that positivity around, I think it really does spread to others. And I think you'll motivate other people to be kind as well. And we need a lot of kindness. Like I know I can't do it on my own. I certainly can't. So I think, if you took something out, if you like the fact that I'm openly very complimentary of people. I say what's on my mind. Like, I say what I like about people. Like, I think it's really important, and I think if that's something that you could utilize in your own life, to spread positivity in your own world, separate of the world that we share, I think that'd be really cool. And I think just kind of spreading that positivity can inspire even more people that you know to be positive, and then they'll inspire other people they know, and it's a never-ending chain. So I think it's a really important thing, and it's really cool to see. So I definitely appreciate, and I see you people. I see you people out there who might be taking some inspiration from the right shoe, and I appreciate that I had a positive effect on you to be comfortable doing that, because again, it's scary. But taking a leap of faith in life is very important oftentimes. So take the leap, be vulnerable, spread some love, spread some joy, spread some kindness. I mean, we need it. We need it. The world's a tough place. It always is, but particularly right now, the world is a tough place. So if you can say something nice to someone, and give just brighten their day, do it. Brighten someone's day. A lot of days for a lot of people are dark, and you don't know what other people are going through. Again, you're on a game of incomplete information, so you have no idea. They could be having a really, really bad day, and you say something nice to them, and it turns their whole day around. You say a few nice things to them, they could be in a big slump in life in general, and just being kind to them over the course of a few times, however long it may be, just you being kind to them could drag them out of the slump that they're in completely. So you can really make a lot of difference just by being kind. And I have examples of people helping me like that, and I have examples of me helping people like that. So just be kind, and don't be shy to be kind, because being kind it's being vulnerable. And so, be kind, be vulnerable, try it. And, it can be scary, but I believe you can do it. If I can do it, listen, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm just me. So do your best. I believe in you. I've got full faith. On that note of I guess, what was I gonna say? Hold on, I lost my train of thought. We got on a tangent about vulnerability. Vulnerability, saying what you mean to people, letting them be themselves. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, so like I had an interesting situation today, where someone actually came to me and said like, "Hey, I saw in this server this person isn't doing too good," and I thought like, and the person thought of me. They thought of me, and they're like, "Yeah, your advice is always so incredible. Like in situations like this, like I feel like you could have a positive effect on that person." And to have that said to me, and by the way, I did go in and talk to that person, and I think my words had a positive influence, because they had a situation very much that I have talked about topic wise on my podcast before, and so I was able to relate and talk to them about it. And I don't know, I just thought it was the coolest thing to get a random DM, not random, but so it's from someone I know, but like get a DM and them to say, "Hey, like this person needs help, and I think you're the person for the job." That's such a flattering feeling. It was honestly one of the most flattering feelings I've ever had in my life. And I will say this person has, the person that went into my DMs to say that has also done said other things to me that I would consider amongst the most flattering things in my life. So thank you, person that I won't name in this podcast, but I appreciate you. And maybe this situation sounds familiar and you're the person listening. You could be listening. But anyway, yeah, I was incredibly flattered that someone thought of me when this person needs help, and you're good with words, and you might be able to help them, because I know your words have been incredible on this topic in the past. So maybe you could help them. And so it felt really good, and it felt good for me to be able to help. But it felt really good that someone would think of me when they think of like, hey, this person needs help. I don't know if I can help, but maybe you can help. So I just think that's really, really flattering. And I'm happy to be, I'm always humbled. Everyone is so kind to me. And I talk about this a lot on the stream, but like everyone's always so incredibly kind to me. And it's very humbling. And I know people tell me, "Oh, right, you, it's because you're kind, and so you get kindness back." But a lot of kind people don't get treated as they should. I'm really, really fortunate that so many people are so kind to me, and I'm very flattered always by that. Very humbled, and I don't know if you're listening to this and you've ever been kind to me. thank you for being kind to me. I really appreciate it, and it does mean a lot. It really is. It's a simple thing to be kind, but I think it's simple, but I think a lot of people struggle with it. So, if you've ever been kind to me, if you're kind to me all the time, thank you for being kind. And I understand. I know you might not feel appreciated. Sometimes nice people that are kind just don't get appreciated. So I just want to say, I appreciate you. If you ever are kind to me, I do appreciate you. And obviously, like it's not like. Uh, Hopefully, no one ever expects anything out of kindness because there's no obligation, right? And it's like just because someone's kind to you doesn't mean you're going to be best friends or anything. Like there's many people I'm kind to everyone. I try to be, but with no obligation of like, oh, we're going to be best friends or something because I'm kind to him. It's like, I guess I don't know. I guess I just worry that like people might feel bad if like they're kind to me and then we're not best friends in the entire world. So I just want to kind of, I guess, reiterate that like I do appreciate you, even if we're not best friends in the world and you're kind to me. I do appreciate it, any kindness toward me. And I'm always very, very grateful and humbled that people are kind to me at all because, again, there are kind people who don't get any kindness back or don't get much kindness that they deserve or whatever it may be. So I'm very, 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 very humbled that people are kind to me and that I get what I would say is a more than fair amount of kindness that I deserve. So thank you very much for all that kindness. I really do appreciate it. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just thought it really cool. We talked last week about Lang was saying like what's it like to be like an inspiration, and I guess I inspired people to think of me when they think of like you know so I need someone to help. I need someone that's good with words to help this person who's struggling, and they think of me. That's honestly the greatest compliment I could receive. So, it is important, and it really is. It's like a situation of like this person and I don't talk. We talk sometimes, but it's not like we talk every day or anything. And it's a situation of like it's not how often you like talk to someone. It's but how often like you think of them, and it really is like this situation of like it's nice that even if you're not talking to someone every day, they might think of you, and that situation might occur where they think of you, and you can kind of step in and let yourself shine. So I think it's a really beautiful thing. I I'm a sappy guy. I'm a sentimental guy. So for me, thinking about the fact that anyone would think about me at any time is always makes me happy. That somewhere out there right now. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, yeah, you're probably thinking about me because it's my podcast. But like this very moment that I'm filming, where you're not listening, I'm just filming right now. Like someone might be thinking about me and thinking about how I made their day better, or thinking about like that they want to talk to me, or thinking about like how that much they care about me, or whatever it may be. Someone might be thinking about me, and you know what? I think that's a good takeaway. I hope that other people can do the same thing. And people, like I said before, people think of like, oh, people are probably thinking about me, thinking bad things about how annoying I am. Don't think of it like that. Like try to be nice to yourself and picture people saying nice things about you. Even if you yourself don't see those nice things, don't assume, because here's what you're doing by assuming like, oh yeah, people are probably like let's just use an example, and we're gonna pick the easy one. Chili Mex feels like he's not, he's pretty mean to himself a lot of the time. So if Chili Mex has those thoughts, if Chili Mex is thinking, instead of like thinking like, oh, maybe my friends are thinking about me right now in a positive way, if he has like thoughts that his friends are having negative thoughts about him, like imagine Chili Mex thinking right now, yeah, right, she's probably thinking about how stupid and annoying I am. Damn, you really think I would be thinking those mean things? Like that's offensive to me. So now you're kind of saying your friend's kind of a dick. You know what I mean? Like if I'm thinking Chili Mex is stupid and annoying, I'm not a good friend at all. So by you thinking that your friends or people might be thinking those negative things about you, you're actually kind of painting them in a bad light. Do you really think your friends would think that about you and would be that mean to like be thinking those negative things about you? No, come on. So that's why I try to think positive. It's like the people in my life that are nice to me, that make a positive impact in my life, Why would they be thinking negative things about me? I mean, I don't see any reason. They're all nice people to me. So I'm going to assume that they're thinking nice things because they always say nice things to me. So I'm sure if they're thinking anything about me, it's a nice thing. So I don't know. I guess just a little positivity there to end off the podcast for this week. Your friends are most likely thinking positive things about you. People are inherently not going to be thinking those negative things about you. And you know what? Don't let your brain tell you otherwise, because our brains are they're hard on us. Again, we're all of our own toughest critics, and everyone wants to assume that basically they're garbage and stuff, but you're not garbage. Your friends value you, I value you, and I appreciate your kindness always. So, my friends, that is all we have. I guess if you're listening to this, I've probably already posted it. I guess I won't post it like the second this goes up. So if you're listening to this like as soon as it's live, you might hear it here before you read it in Discord or whatever. But next week, Chili Mex is going to be joining us. We've got a few special guests planned. I won't name all of them, but we've got a few lined up, and Chili Mex was the first on that list. So he is going to be on with us next week. So whatever you're doing, stop it right now. Go to the form in the Google form that I posted and go ask some questions for Chili Mex to answer alongside myself. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed listening as always. If you did, wonderful. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But yes, thank you guys so much, as always, for all the love and support. People are so kind to me about the podcast as well, about how much they like listening to it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. It's always very humbling, and thank you for your kindness. Until next week, my friends, much, much love.